From sticking to the most mind-blowing training routine to having the mindset of a champ when facing her opponents, here's how Amanda Nunes actually prepares for her fights. From the get-go, Amanda's been a ruthless opponent in the octagon, and the fact that she's knocked Ronda Rousey the out in 48 seconds.
Stop! Whoa! Another stoppage win!
Sending her into early retirement made everyone in the division avoid stepping into the cage with her. Because the Lioness doesn't just win, she dominates, and that's thanks to her intense training regimen. Amanda trains 5 days a week for more than 6 hours sometimes, and according to her former coach, Conan Silveria, she works out twice a day, when most of us can't even make it to the gym once a day. Her morning sessions focus entirely on weight training, and during this time, she works on her upper body strength. She'll do exercises like deadlifts, which helps her build core strength, and some side wood chops to activate the core. Plus, Amanda knows how important cardio training is, so she regularly goes on runs. Starting her day off with such intense training sounds really exhausting, but that's just how Nunes likes it. And if you guys follow her on Instagram, you'll know that one of her favorite exercises is the sled drag. Even though sled dragging can be a real pain, you can clearly see her loving every second of it. That's it, Amanda, feel that burn! But she doesn't only want to be strong, she also wants to be quick on her toes. And that's why she includes ladder drills, steps, and even medicine ball throws in her training. It's no wonder she leaves her opponents with bloody noses all the time. And like other UFC fighters, Amanda focuses heavily on sparring during her training. She likes to stick with traditional sparring, which consists of wrestling, boxing, and blocking. And you've gotta admit, when it comes to striking Nunes, it is simply unbeatable. Just look at her knockout of Chris Cyborg at UFC 232. The champ knows exactly where to hit her opponents, and when she steps into the cage, you know she's about to turn into a wild animal and open a serious can of whoop-ass. According to Conan, when she was training Amanda, her sparring rounds lasted 5 to 10 minutes with breaks in between, which gave him the time to try and figure out what she was doing wrong. And a source close to the Lioness told me that she likes to switch up her routine all the time. This helps her stay motivated, and she has fun too. But that's not all. Did you know that her training regimen changes depending on the opponent she's facing? True story. And now that you know she's a real fitness freak, let's talk about what her diet consists of. To no one's surprise, Nunes takes her diet just as seriously as her training. She eats 4 to 5 meals a day and is super strict about what she puts into her body. That means no junk food or anything that has added sugar. Instead, she makes sure that her meals are packed with all the good stuff, like fruits, egg whites, veggies, and fish. I mean, she's got to keep her energy levels up, right? She also loves munching on snacks, but obviously, she needs to keep her fitness in check too. So she sticks to chowing down on dried fruits and nuts. But do you guys want to know which snack she can't help but ruin her diet for? Chocolate. A source close to Amanda told me that once she starts eating chocolate, she can't stop. Same girl, same. Still, she's always ready to make sacrifices, so she can bring her A game into the octagon. I mean, Amanda's never missed making weight in her entire career, not even once. And believe me, folks, luck's got nothing to do with it. It's her determination to be the best that pushes her. But since I'm talking about her training and diet, it only makes sense to discuss the fighting style that's made her an absolute legend. Obviously, Amanda's no average fighter. She shows zero mercy when it comes to fighting. And once she spots any weakness in her opponent's defense, you better believe she's going to exploit it and use it to her advantage.
Right through and brawl, and she paid. Nunes landing the bigger, sharper.
Remember when she beat the shit out of Shayna Baszler with brutal leg kicks? All I'm saying is that if her punches can't reach you, her legs definitely will. And that's not all. She's gotten really popular for putting her competition out of business. Remember when I mentioned earlier that she KO'd Cyborg? Well, Amanda moved up a weight class just to knock her ass out. I don't care what anybody says, but that's totally legendary. And the Lioness doesn't like to beat her opponents via submission, which is ironic, considering she won her UFC title with a rear naked choke, but always prefers to end her fights by throwing a good old punch. If a wounded opponent turtles up and she happens to be on top of them, she'll sink in those hooks and start fishing. so she's a great opportunist. I mean, when someone's training under legends like Roger Crawl and Mike Brown, you'd expect nothing less than perfection. And perfection she is, people. Amanda trained at American Top Team for 8 years, a training camp that's been home to fighters like Dustin Poirier and Colby Covington. But in 2022, Nunes announced that she was leaving ATT and opening up her own new private space. She calls it her Lioness Studio. Not gonna lie, that's got a nice ring to it. And check out the facilities that the studio has. I'm talking about a large mat space for training, a full-size cage, and a small sauna. She even has a lounge with a TV for studying her fights, a kitchen and a bedroom on the upper floor. If she needs to rest after an intense workout, she's even hired a new Brazilian coach, Balbino Jr., to help her out with her jiu-jitsu training. Nunes told ESPN that she didn't feel comfortable at her previous training camp, and said stepping away has allowed her to do things her way. But being the true legend that she is, she paid respect to ATT, saying that they made history together, said that no bridges were burned. The Lioness also debunked rumors that she left ATT because of her coaches or her loss at UFC 269, and went out of her way to make sure that people knew there wasn't any bad blood. Her fans were worried about the big change, because Amanda's stepping back into the octagon after almost a year. And the last thing they want to see is her losing a fight. In case you didn't know, Nunes was supposed to fight Juliana Pena at UFC 298, her biggest rival. At UFC 269, Juliana shocked the world when she submitted Nunes with a rear naked choke and won the women's bantamweight title. I mean, Nunes was untouchable back then, and the Venezuelan vixen beat her like a champ. But she didn't get to enjoy her victory for too long, because guess what happened 7 months later? Yep, you got it. The Lioness got her title back with a decision win. A while back, Dana White announced that Pena and Nunes would face each other again at UFC 289, which was great because no true rivalry ends in a tie. And to say fans were excited would be the understatement of the century. They couldn't wait to see who'd end up destroying the other. But now, it's been confirmed that the Venezuelan vixen has dropped out of the match, thanks to a rib injury. Replacing Pena is Mexican challenger Irene Aldana, who's won 6 of her previous 8 fights. And even though I know some of you guys aren't happy with the replacement, at least you'll get to see the legendary Amanda Nunes in the octagon again. But this time, she's coming in with a bold new mindset. Amanda recently talked about the kind of strategy that she's adopted, and said that in the octagon, anything's possible. So once she steps inside, she's prepared for anything. Nunes says she doesn't let the pressure get to her head, and that she's learned to never underestimate her opponents. So there you have it, fight fans. From having the mindset of a champ when facing her opponents, to sticking to the most mind-blowing training routine. That's how Amanda Nunes actually prepares for her fights.